GETTY, PAThe. Scottish Government's transport bill will introduce four-emission zone. Motorists will be banned from entering cities or face automatic fines if their cars do not meet strict clean air standards. New laws paving the way for four low-emission zones, LEZs, within the next 2 years were today introduced at Holyrood. This will see older petrol and diesel vehicles barred from parts of Glasgow, Edinburgh, Aberdeen and Dundee in a bid to improve public health. The Scottish Government's transport bill also sets out a ban on double parking and parking on pavements, including beefed-up powers for local authorities to enforce this rule. Critics hit out at the attack on motorists amid warnings hundreds of thousands of struggling firms and families face hefty bills to replace their machines. The effect this may have on smaller businesses in particular could be expensive and very disruptive. Neil Gregg, Policy and Research Director. Ministers want to create a national penalty scheme to enforce the LEZs, policed by automatic number plate recognition cameras. Countrywide standards for vehicles allowed to enter the zones and fines will be set by the Scottish Government. The crackdown is likely to affect petrol cars registered before January 2006 and diesels registered before September 2014, based on European emission standards. But a government policy document published alongside the bill notes ministers will have the power to change the standard in the future. The IM Road Smart Motoring Group estimates 738,000 diesel cars and 244,000 petrol cars would not meet the LEZ criteria. This represents 40% of all cars in Scotland. Neil Gregg, Policy and Research Director, said, "There is no doubt that many owners of perfectly serviceable older Euro the 5th of May find themselves now owning a car or van that has to pay to access streets they previously took for granted. The effect this may have on smaller businesses in particular could be expensive and very disruptive." Philip Gombe, of the RAC Foundation, added, "Everyone wants cleaner air, but the risk is that thousands of Scottish drivers will be left with cars they can neither drive in towns and cities, nor sell. Hardest hit will be those on lowest incomes who are most likely to have old cars and least likely to be able to afford to replace them with something newer and cleaner." Glasgow will launch the first LEZ on December 31, 2018. Edinburgh, Aberdeen and Dundee are expected to follow by 2020. GETTY. Scottish Government will set countrywide standards for vehicles allowed to enter the zones. Green campaigners have previously hit out at a lack of ambition in the Glasgow scheme, after council bosses revealed buses would be targeted first before curbs on diesel on high-polluting cars, taxis and vans. The LEZs were first proposed last year. Ministers said individual councils would decide which vehicles were banned or exempt. This could include blue badge holders, emergency vehicles, bin lorries, and night shift workers traveling when no public transport is available. Today's document, however, said the bill allows the Scottish Government to set consistent standards for emissions, penalties, and certain exemptions. Restrictions will be in place 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but could be varied on a case-by-case basis. Motorists outside a zone will be given grace period of between 1 and 4 years to allow them time to acquire cleaner vehicles before enforcement starts. Those within a zone would receive an extended sunset period of 1 to 2 years after the initial lead-in stage. Scottish Tory Environment spokesman Donald Cameron said, "Motorists already feel like the Scottish Government has an anti-car agenda, and some of these proposals would exacerbate that. Any changes must be done with agreement of businesses and people who rely on their car to get around, either for work or leisure." The bill also proposes a major shake-up of bus services amid plummeting passenger numbers. GETTY. Another government policy document notes ministers can change the standard in the future. Councils will be given more flexibility over services, through partnership working with operators, local franchising or running services themselves. The government also want to see smart ticketing technology standardized across the country and the regulation of roadworks improved. Transport Minister Humza Yousaf said the bill would help transform our towns and cities into cleaner, more accessible and more pleasant spaces to travel and enjoy, but Scottish Labour described it was a huge missed opportunity, saying they would table a series of amendments. Scottish Greens welcomed progress on LEZs and bus travel but said the bill otherwise leaves a lot to be desired, with not a single mention for trains.